So if you are an Atlanta Hawks fan, you are probably sitting there now extremely happy. I mean, who wouldn't be if you were in your circumstance? You legitimately just won the 2024 NBA Draft Lottery, and there is a ton of different things they can do. Of course, there's still rumors that Trae Young potentially might be getting traded. Again, I made a video talking about him maybe going to the Lakers and how that could all work. But again, I personally believe whether they trade Trae Young or not, I would personally keep him because I think the player I've got selecting at 1 would be an awesome player to create a long-term duo with Trae Young. I still think this makes a ton of sense. And again, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Who should the Atlanta Hawks select with the first overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft? Again, I do highly recommend going and checking out my full draft lottery mock draft that I've done, which will be linked in the description down below. That way you get to go and see who I have all the other teams taking, this and that. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I guess without further ado, let's get straight into it with who I think the Hawks should select. With the first overall pick, which does belong to the Atlanta Hawks, I actually do have them selecting Alexander Sarr. Now, you guys know, who have been watching my draft videos for a bit now, Alexander Sarr, or Alex Sarr, as most of you guys probably know him by, is probably nearly my favorite player in the draft. Again, he actually is born and raised in France, but did actually play his basketball for the Perth Wildcats in the Australian NBL League, where he absolutely dominated. Again, one of the best, if not the best defender in this whole entire draft class. He would be so perfect for the Atlanta Hawks. Whether they trade Trae Young or keep him, again, I would love to see a duo of Trae Young and Alex Sarr. Again, this guy can play center, he can play power forward, he can basically do anything you really need him to do. Again, his number one NBA comparison is, of course, Evan Mobley. A lot of people have been comparing him to Evan Mobley, who legitimately finished, I think, 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year count in only his, I think it was his 2nd year in the NBA. Evan Mobley finished 3rd. Again, these last year he's had a lot of injuries, but again, this guy is one of the best power forward / centers in the league, and Alexander Sarr plays exactly like him. Again, the ability to not only guard the center position, but to be quick enough to move out and be a power forward and guard the perimeter is truly underrated in this league. Again, there's not many players that can do it. There's only a handful of guys that can switch from power forward to center with absolute ease, and Alex Sarr definitely is one of those guys. Again, he's jumped up to being number 1 on nearly every mock draft, I believe, except I think ESPN still has him at 2, if I remember right, which is really, really weird. But the fact is, this guy can do everything. He's a very good rebounder, very good defender. I actually believe he has a really underrated mid-range shot. And again, if you've got this guy open, really, if it's going to be a floater shot in the paint or whatever, he's 99% of the time probably going to hit it. But again, that mid-range shot has definitely come through really nicely, and we got to see what some of it does look like in the NBL, where he was against literal grown men and some of the best competition in the whole entire world. Again, some people would argue that that league is the 2nd best league in the world, and he was able to show his mid-range shot off, and when he was open, he would often hit it down. You know, again, the only thing that I think Sarr really kind of struggles with is I don't think he's the greatest 3-point shooter, but again, like Evan Mobley, will occasionally hit that 3-point shot. And let's be honest here, with how he plays, you don't need to be a good 3-point shooter. If you've got that mid-range game, which he does have, you've already got a leg over a 50% of the centers in the NBA already. And not just that, he's already a better defender than most of them. He's a better rebounder than half of them already as well. Again, this guy has, as I just previously said, experience with playing on, men and obviously great competition, and not just, high schoolers who are going into college as well. He has played on all different shapes and sizes, the best competition outside of the NBA, arguably in the world. Great defenders, great shooters. He's going to be a gem for the Atlanta Hawks. And again, there's still a lot of rumors going around that Trae Young might get traded. I still believe they should keep him, but again, Woj also was one of those reporters, and you know when Woj is reporting on something, he's usually cooking. I actually feel like, though, Trae Young would be pretty happy to take somewhat of a back seat, and wait for this rebuild to, build around him. Again, I don't think he would particularly too care. If he does, then he probably will get traded. But if he wants to wait for a couple years, because it looks like the Hawks are going to try and rebuild, like the rumors are saying, you're already adding Alexander Sarr to this team. You've got Jalen Johnson, who was absolutely fantastic for them. Trae Young in his own right, who is still relatively young. Again, he's not that old. This team looks like it's heading in the right direction. They can obviously move on from Capella now if they want to as well, which I think they've been wanting to do for like a year or two. Onyeka Okongwu, I still think is a backup big in this league. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him, but I think he would be very good serviceable with Sarr. And if not, maybe even playing Sarr at power forward minutes. There's no reason why as well you can't start Onyeka Okongwu and Alexander Sarr together. And I still think that's a big chance for the Hawks to do. So again, I think this makes a really great pick. He's, in my opinion, by far the best player in the draft. Can do absolutely everything, really. And I think could very well come straight into the NBA and be one of the better big men in the league. And he's already played against that NBL competition. So skies are the limit for this man. And I think with the first overall pick, it just makes so much sense for the Atlanta Hawks to, of course, select Alexander Sarr. But of course, if you haven't already, I'd really like to know what you guys think about my official 2024 NBA mock draft top 5 picks. Definitely don't forget to comment your thoughts and opinions on these down below. Subscribe to my gaming channel, of course. Subscribe to my IRL/vlogging channel, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on any more NBA videos and all the latest draft content, this and that. Again, I highly appreciate you guys and how you guys have been around for all these draft videos. It's been absolutely awesome to make them. I've got a ton more coming out, so definitely stay tuned for that. But of course, again, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.